This sector is now under my control. Stand down and prepare for Vega occupation.
Hello, everyone. This is Captain Soban. Welcome aboard the Starship Normal Prize for another episode of Homeworld Galaxy FX. Okay, so today I have a special episode for you guys. We were going to play the Hiigaran campaign and continue on our march to wipe out the Vega from the map. The problem is this week there was a patch for Homeworld FX Galaxy, and we all know, any of you guys have ever played a Homeworld mod, whenever there's a patch, it breaks all the saves. So we would have to start over completely once again. And, you know, there was something I wanted to start a new series after we completed that mission, but we're going to go ahead and start it now so we have something for this week. We are doing the FX Galaxy Ship Showcase series. And this time, I actually don't have to worry about the AI attacking us because I was able to get my other computer working, and I got it to where it's connected to my main computer, and they're currently, you know, fighting each other on the map. So we don't have to worry about the enemy doing anything, which is really, really, really nice. So those of you guys who are new to the FX Galaxy game, or what exactly... For those of you here who are new to the FX Galaxy mod, what exactly is Homeworld FX Galaxy? This is a mod that's been in development for many, many years. It kind of emphasizes on competitive multiplayer matchups, as well as like single-player campaign based off of each one of the races, and a skirmish campaign to help hone your skills. It's basically, it helps reinforce the skirmish strategy, and your skirmish strategy abilities to make it better against PvP combat, I guess is what I'm trying to get to. Normally when I do these ship showcase series, I'll take a look at a couple classes of ships, and then we will see what they're good against, see what they're bad against, and then break it down into multiple episodes. Well, in FX Galaxy, there aren't like tons of different ships, because it's more about like player skill than actual, like, you know, differences between ships, like a ship focusing on missile combat where another one focuses on kinetic combat. So what we're going to do is we're going to break them up into each races. So this one is going to be all about Hiigarans. Next week will be all about Vega, and then all about the Hiigaran, so on and so forth. So to start this off, we are going to be looking at the fighter class ships. And the first one in front of us is the Scout class. Now, in FX Galaxy, the Scout class works exactly the same as in original Homeworld 2. It is your scouting ship. It is very fast, 490 meters per second, doesn't do a whole lot of damage. It has very little health. Its primary objective is to scout somewhere on the map and reveal location for the fleet. That's pretty much it. Nothing really special about it. So the second one we have is our Interceptor class, which is pretty much the same thing as in Homeworld 1. They're actually about as fast as the Scouts, just slightly slower. I find that pretty interesting. I never noticed that before. But they do 30 damage and they have 800 health, so a lot more health than the Scouts, and they also have a squadron of 5. These are your main fighter versus fighter combat vessels. They can also be used to attack and destroy mines, and they can also attack missiles if you use the force attack, which, if you guys don't know what that is, that's if you hold down Control and Shift. It'll make that symbol there, and it'll allow you to attack anything you want, including your own ships. So just keep that in mind. And then next after that, we have the Attack Bombers, or the Bomber class, which is your main anti-capital ship, anti-subsystem fighter class ship. So anti-capital ship fighter squadron, nothing really unusual about them. They are kind of the same as the original bombers in Homeworld 2. They just look a little bit fancier and have a fancier name. I think these are the Thunderbolt things from PDS, if I remember. So I've been playing that mod a lot recently too. So cool. and those are the fighters. They're mostly the same. You just have your main dog fighter. The only difference is the interceptor has the ability to attack objects that might be a threat to the military, like mines or missiles. Other than that, they're pretty much the same. So next after that, oh yeah, and their price is $350 for an interceptor squadron, $500 for attack bomber, $150 for scout. So pretty cool. Next we have the Corvette squadrons, which we have the Pulsar gunship, which as you can see has been upgraded in this mod to have 2 Pulsar lasers instead of 1, which I actually like because that makes the Pulsar gunship a lot more effective against Corvettes, which is what it's designed to go against. So I actually really approve of that change that they made. But this is our heavy Corvette squadron. It's good against Corvettes, and in large groups it can take down frigates that aren't good at fighting small ships, so not assault frigates or flak frigates, stuff like that. But they could take down ion cannon frigates, infiltrator frigates, like those type of ships, no problem, if it had to. But it's mostly designed to fight other Corvette class ships. And then our other one, which is one of my favorite ones in this mod, the multi-gun Corvette, which as you can see has multiple guns. So it's got 3, looks like 4 dual turrets all at the same time, or all of the 4 dual turrets that will track down, I believe these are good against fighter class ships. Yeah, it's basically an upgraded version of the multi-gun Corvette on the Taidan or Kushan side from Homeworld 1. It's not good against other Corvettes or frigate class capital ships because out of all of these turrets it only does 100 damage, so that's 20 damage per turret. That's not going to take down a frigate class ship. Plus you only get 1 ship per squadron, so you do want to use this thing pretty carefully against its specialty. So it's also pretty expensive too for just 1 Corvette class ship, 550 RUs. So you definitely if you're going to use this ship, you definitely want to make sure that it goes against what it's supposed to be good against, which is fighters or any type of like fast-moving ship. But you definitely don't want to go up against like Pulsar gunships, like a ship that is good against other Corvette class ships. So, and that is all of the Corvettes. Hiigarans only get 2 types of Corvettes. 1 Corvette that's good against other Corvettes, and 1 Corvette that's good against fighters. So next we have the frigates, which a lot of them have kind of been the same since Homeworld 2. Like first up on our list is the torpedo frigate at 550 RUs. It is your basic economical frigate. It's good against Corvettes, and when you upgrade the torpedoes so they don't split anymore, it's good against frigates. So pretty much the same as its role was in Homeworld 2. And then after that, next one we have our flak frigate, which is over here.
Reporting.
Flak. Oh yeah. How much damage does a torpedo frigate do? Yeah, 228. It's not going to do anything good against anything larger than a frigate class ship.
Acknowledged.
And its torpedoes don't track fast enough to make it effective against fighters. So it's mainly a Corvette role with a little bit of a frigate role when upgraded. But the flak frigate is your main anti-fighter frigate. So this one's been upgraded from Homeworld 2. You have the top flak turret, and I don't remember from Homeworld 2 if there was a bottom flak turret. I think there was only a top flak turret, if I remember. Because I believe, yeah, Captain Soban's flagship was based off of a flak frigate. So yeah, it only had 1 turret on top. So this has been upgraded so it can cover itself on top and cover itself on bottom, making it even more effective against fighters. But it only does 250 damage, which would be 125 per turret. So it's really only good against fighters. It might be good against Corvettes since it has a fast tracking capability in large groups. Like I'm saying, like maybe 4 or 5 ships per squadron. But it will pretty much do nothing against other frigates. Unless it's in a really, really large group, because numbers can always overwhelm your weakness if you have them. So if you have like 10 frigates, then they might be able to take down like other flak frigates or infiltrator frigates or stuff like that. But against like an ion cannon frigate, which is our next on our list, which are really, really good against capital ships, no way. They're not going to handle it. So speaking of which, Ion Can Frigate, which is my all-time favorite ship in the game. It's basically just a giant ship with a particle cannon and going through the entire bow. This entire area is actually a cooling system for the particle cannon, so it doesn't overheat the ship or cause it to explode due to, you know, misuse or something like that. Oh, crap. It's a good song, but it's always copyrighted for some stupid reason. So yeah, so this Ion Can Frigate is only good against other frigate class ships and destroyers or above. I would use these in small groups against frigates, large groups against destroyer class ships, since they'll have the firepower advantage. But they have poor maneuverability and they only have the particle cannons, so they're not going to be good against fighters and corvettes. They're going to outmaneuver them and tear them apart. So I would use these for your main frigate on frigate attack lines. And then after that, we have the Marine Frigate, which is actually what Captain Soban is based off of. I just saw the front over here on the flak frigates, and I thought that's what they were based off. But I remembered that this little area here and the turret on top. So Marine Frigate is what the Captain Soban's flagship is based off of, if any of you guys didn't know that. And the Marine Frigate doesn't do a whole lot of damage. It has a defensive turret on top to protect it against like fighter or against like attack bomber raids and stuff like that. But its primary purpose is to board the enemy vessel and take it over in the name of Hiigarans. But that's about it. There's nothing else that's really special about it. It's just a boarding vessel. And then after that, we have the Defense Field Frigate, which is primary, which doesn't actually, it does do a little bit of damage. Oh, it's got a little bit of a defensive turret on the bottom. But the Defense Field Frigate's primary objective is to create a shield around all of our units, which block out kinetic weapons and missile weapons from hitting the fleet. Now, if they're inside the bubble, that doesn't do anything. It won't stop them. It only stops them if they're on outside the bubble. And it won't stop against energy weapons like ion cannons or Trinity cannons, which the Vega motherships or Vega battlecruisers and stuff have. At least I don't think it blocks those. No, I don't think it does, because that's considered an energy weapon, not a kinetic weapon. So yeah, this guy's primary purpose is to produce a shield for the fleet to help protect incoming damage, so your fleet's survivability improves. That's pretty much it. And that does it for frigate class ships. Next we have the capital class ships. And of course we have the traditional destroyer class, which hasn't really adjusted a whole lot from the Homeworld 2. It's pretty much still the same anti-destroyer, anti-frigate class that it was before, because you still got your 3 kinetic cannons on top, you got your 1 kinetic cannon on bottom, you got your torpedo launcher in the front. This guy's main goal is to frontline enemy frigate raids and fight them back and destroy the enemy frigates. They can destroy other destroyers if you have a group of them, like 2 or 3 of them, but one-on-one destroyers is pretty much, it's just gonna be a standstill. No one's gonna win. So I would use these as the ship that gets that tanks the enemy frigates that come in, so your other like anti-frigate classes like the ion cannon frigate can take them down while the destroyer has their attention. Or you can use them as a group of destroyers to take down other frigates. That's a couple of different strategies you can use this ship for. And now we also have the one ship that has been added to this mod for the Hiigaran side, which is the light cruiser, which actually when you look at it looks pretty cool. Let me go ahead and go to you so we can look at the stats. I can't see how, I think it costs 2,000 RUs to build this, but you can only have one. The reason why is if you look at this, it's like a destroyer, as a destroyer class mixed in with a bishop transport class. It's pretty cool. I like how they were able to mash those designs in. But basically, the light cruiser's main objective is to provide long-range support to the fleet. So, in other words, like the light cruiser, it does do a decent amount of damage actually, but its main objective is to destroy other destroyer-class ships and other frigate-class ships from long range, because it has a lot of long-range artillery weapons. It also has an annihilator cannon array. Interesting.
Local resources exhausted. Fleet moving on.
Very interesting. But for like a...
Standing by.
Actually, it's just slightly slower than the destroyer. I actually thought this was faster. I might have been thinking of a different mod. But let's see what the game actually says the role of this is. Light cruiser equipped with 2 module and 1 weapon slots. Strong against frigates, destroyer classes, weak against bombers. So yeah, these aren't really good against battle cruisers because they don't have the health or the firepower to take care of them. But any other cruiser class ships or destroyer class ships, this guy would be good against because he has a longer longer weapon range than a destroyer class ship, so he can get the enemy's attention and pummel him, and then the main fleet can come in and try to do the rest of the damage while he stays outside of the battle just providing artillery support. Okay, and then our last combat ship of the Hiigaran fleet is the battlecruiser, which he was supposed to move here, but apparently he didn't. And the battlecruiser really hasn't changed too much from the Homeworld 2 version either.
Responding.
Like if we see here, heavy capital ship. So yeah, it's got its 2 dual ion cannons, 1 on top, 1 on bottom. All of the kinetic defensive weapons. It's got 1 up here, and that's it. Oh, it's got 2 and 3 on the bottom. Surprised it doesn't have more on the top. And then it's got the 2 modules that you can build on it, the hyperspace module and gravity well module. This is basically your frontline battle cruiser, or your
collector standing by.
Your frontline ship. Let me go ahead and get rid of our resource collectors wherever they are. There they are.
Confirmed.
Let's go ahead and retire those.
All right, that's it. Retirement confirmed.
Otherwise, that's going to get really annoying. So yeah, this is your most powerful ship. It is your main combat vessel for when it comes to big battles. It has a bunch of health, so it can take a lot of damage. I believe it also has some anti-fighter like pulsar turrets, but it's not going to take down a fleet single-handedly. It does need help and support from your other ships. But when it comes to other battle cruisers, destroyers, maybe even frigate class ships, this guy will annihilate them all. I told you all to retire. Oh.
Confirmed.
You retire.
All right, that's it. Retirement confirmed.
Okay, and now next we have our production level vessels. So this one right here is your carrier class vessel. It can build all of your fighter, corvettes, and frigate class ships. It can also call in a shipyard if you get the hyperspace module built onto it. The primary purpose of this ship is to provide additional production capabilities to the fleet, and to have like some sort of forward operation area if you want to do that. Or sometimes what I like to do is I'll use my carriers as like a drop-off point for resourcing areas, mainly because sometimes it's easier to do that, and then you can have a resource drop-off point as well as a production area if you need to. Like, let's say our shipyard over here gets under attack, I could quickly pump out ships from the carrier that I built here to help protect the shipyard, instead of having a resource controller or a mobile refinery here that can't really do anything other than just protect the harvesters. So sometimes I'll invest in a carrier just to provide an additional area for pumping out ships, just in case I need it. And speaking of which,
reporting.
Our last production level ship is the shipyard. Now, just like in Homeworld 2, the shipyard is capable of building any type of ship you need, including the battlecruiser. It is also required to be built to build the battlecruiser, because the battlecruiser is too large to come out of the Pride of Hiigaran, so it has to come out of the shipyard. But other than that, it's pretty much the same in Homeworld 2. So there's not really a whole lot to say about it. It's actually got... Oh, and one thing that is kind of interesting about FX Galaxy, now that we're talking about these, certain production ships, depending on the faction that it's being played on, will have defensive weapons. Some of them don't. On the Hiigaran side, your carrier, shipyard, and mothership all don't have defensive weapons. You need some sort of other way to protect it. Where I won't talk about them right now, but some of the other races, some of your production level ships are actually like your battle cruisers. It's actually pretty cool how they set all that up. But anyways, yeah, nothing special about the shipyard. It's pretty much the same as it's been in Homeworld 2. The only thing that is different in this one is once you build your shipyard, it automatically comes with a super capital ship facility, so you can automatically start pumping out battle cruisers as soon as your shipyard's built. You don't have to build this at all. So that was one interesting fact I found out about the shipyard. Now, the last, we also do have platforms you can build on the Hiigaran side. They are kind of the same as they were on the original Homeworld 2. So you got two platforms, the gun platform and the ion platform. But they have been changed a little bit. The gun platforms don't do a whole lot of damage, but they have very fast tracking turrets, making them extremely effective against fighters. But that's about it. They don't do enough damage to really affect Corvettes. Where the ion platforms have gotten the same treatment. Their ion beams have kind of been weakened, but they have a faster tracking turret. So it makes them effective against frigates, but not really effective against anything else. They don't have the health to survive like a battlecruiser or something like that. So I would use these as kind of like if you have a large harvesting area you're trying to protect, I would probably build a handful of these to protect the harvesting area. Like probably 2 of each. That's what I normally like to do. And just like Homeworld 2, once you move these platforms, you can't move them again, so you have to be kind of careful of what you want to do with them. They are also extremely cheap. They're 300, but that's mainly because of that reason. Okay, and now the last ones we're going to look at are our harvesters. Oh, the one... I had that harvester here for showcase, whatever. We'll just look at this guy. So harvesters are the same in Homeworld 2. They just go up to asteroids and whatnot, and they harvest. You can also upgrade them to repair your ships, but that's about it. Nothing really special. They are just your resource harvesters. And the mobile refineries, same thing. Nothing really special other than the one thing that they do not have the ability to protect themselves. They don't have any built-in defensive guns. So you will have to keep an eye on that, which is one thing that would also make the platforms a little bit more useful because the mobile refineries can't fight back. So I would give you a little bit more incentive to invest in some gun platforms or ion platforms to protect your harvesting area. But that's about it. The mothership, same thing. Mothership's pretty much the same as the Homeworld 2, other than the fact it doesn't have any weapons built onto it. Mothership can build everything except for the battlecruiser, so that's good to know. You also have your research modules and your advanced research modules that you can build on your mothership and shipyard, and I believe you can build on the carrier as well. Oh no, you can't actually build those in the carrier, only in the shipyard and mothership. Now, one thing I do want to explain about when it comes to research in this mod, they did a really good job of making it to where the research modules actually matter. What I mean is in Homeworld 2, when you were trying to build a destroyer class ship, you would have to build your capital class facility, and then you would have to research destroyer class, and then you could build it. In this one, as soon as you get your capital ship facility built, you can automatically build a destroyer, which is cool because then you don't have to worry too much about that. But if you lose your capital ship facility, then you can't do that. But when it comes to like your light cruisers or battle cruisers or like marine frigates or stuff like that, those ones actually require you to have your advanced research module built. Which means if you, let's say we build an advanced research module on your shipyard and then it gets destroyed in combat and you no longer have an advanced research module, then you can't build marine frigates. You would have to find some other way to rebuild your advanced research module, which I love that. Instead of, building a research module and then going to research and being like, I need to research destroyer class vessels, and then you can build destroyers for the rest of the game. Or I should say light cruisers. We'll just use light cruisers as an example. Be like, I need to research light cruisers, and then now you can build light cruisers for the rest of the game, where then if you lose your shipyard, which has your advanced research module on it, you no longer can build your light cruiser until you get that advanced research module built. And that's kind of a strategy, or that's kind of a thing in most of the races in this mod.
Fleet, nothing else in range. Nothing but gravel out here. Confirmed. We got the call. Bring her in. Waiting aside.
That's kind of a thing that's in most of these different ones, which we'll go through when we actually start going through all that stuff. But tackling a little bit about research is pretty straightforward in this mod. Like, there are some special researches you can do, like enhanced sensor, which allows you to ping the map, hyperspace upgrades, but most of them are just strikecraft damage, or most of them are damage upgrades or hull upgrades, and they upgrade the entire portion of the fleet. So, like, for instance, if I get this will upgrade the damage of all my Corvettes, not just the pulsar gunship or not just the minigun. It'll upgrade them all. Same thing if I go to, I wonder why I can't do frigates. Oh, that's because frigate and capital ship are the same. I forgot about that. So you can upgrade your damage for your frigate and capital ship class vessels, and then upgrade your hull of your frigate and capital ship. I believe that does everything, including the mothership and shipyard. So they have a lot of the research all grouped together, so you don't have to go through and be like, oh, I want to improve the damage of my torpedo frigates, or oh, I want to improve the armor of my iron cannon frigates. It's like, nope, you want that, just research this and it improves them all. So, and there's the repair ability for the resource collector, and I believe that's everything. The only other thing I didn't cover really was the launch, which you can have 80, which is wrong, because a squadron counts as 2 spaces, or a ship in a squadron counts as 2 spaces. So this would actually be 8 squadrons of fighters and probably a handful of corvettes. Yeah, the mothership can hold 80, shipyard can hold 100, makes sense, it's larger, and carrier can hold 50. Oh, and a battle cruiser can hold 40. That makes sense. Anyways, yeah,
Mothership.
in the modules, I don't really have to explain too much. They're all self-explanatory, because a lot of the modules are very simple in this mod. So you have your hyperspace module, which allows you to hyperspace and build a shipyard. Gravity well module prevents the enemy from hyperspacing in your area. And then, of course, your research modules, which allow you to research and build advanced vessels. Oh, one more thing I wanted to mention. Difficulty of playing this team is what I would say easy. And that's mainly because of the fact that most of the ships you build are similar to what you're used to in Homeworld 2. The only difference is the multi-gun Corvette instead of the gun Corvette, and the light cruiser, which is completely new. But mostly everything else still works the same as it did back in Homeworld 2. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please leave a like if you did. If you like what I do, consider subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, this is Captain Soban signing out.
This is the garden of Kadesh. For 13 generations we have protected it from the unclean. If you have come to join me, welcome you, and will spare you your ship until all have disembarked. If you have come to consume the garden, you will be removed at once. What are your intentions?